actually do an intro. So Yoonie and I have actually been talking because this is actually a little bit weird. So some of you might be seeing me in Midwest Campus Clash right now and on CSL's Ward Up. That's because this is a pre-recorded show. I don't know if I'm supposed to say that, but it's my show, so I really don't give a crap. So here we are. Yoonie, you've joined us. You're on the Ward Up. The Ward Up, of course, is a weekly League of Legends, collegiate League of Legends based show where I gather all the data from the past week, try to condense it into a show, 30-minute show on Fridays. Normally, I have a guest for 15 minutes, and then I go through the news bits. But really, I mean, the teams are kind of narrowed down. Not much is happening in the world of collegiate League of Legends esports right now. So I'm improvising. This is going to be a whole 30-minute show with me and Yoonie talking about the business and things that he's been through because Yoonie, you've actually been through quite a bit. You started at Robert Morris University, now you're at Northwestern. Tell me a little bit about yourself. Like, what did you do before RMU? How did you get to RMU, and what did you do there? Let's start with that. Let's go from a journey to point to how you started and how you ended, where you're at now.
Wow, where I ended. You make it sound like I'm dead, buddy.
Yeah. Well, hold on. No. Like we're gonna get through like topic by topic, but first we're gonna start out with who you are, what you did, how'd you get here, as far as Robert Morris University.
Sure. Well, actually, I started at Northwestern, so I got into Northwestern 2013. Actually started as a clarinet performance and economics major. I ended up, now I'm a psychology major, but what happened is when I got to Northwestern, there were a lot of people that I met just like, posting on Facebook pages, like, class 2017 page, like, hey, anyone play League of Legends? Like, there's a sign-up sheet that I'm starting here and everything. So I got really interested in that. One of the upperclassmen started a league club, and I found out that apparently there was already an existing Smash club. So we kind of, one day, a couple of the guys and myself, like just sitting in the background, really, they said, why don't we just make it one big student organization just so we can get recognized by the university, so we can get some funding, status, recognition, all that stuff. And actually, we won the Wildcat Excellence Award for Most Outstanding New Student Organization for jumping from about 150 or so members to a total of 350 within the course of a year. And ever since then, the other guys, they graduated, and it was pretty much just left up to me from my sophomore year, day one. And since then, we've grown massively. Like as far as our sign-up list go, we have about 700 plus members total across all of our different platforms like League of Legends, Hearthstone, Smash, Overwatch. We have a casual group for that, and also our D2 CS:GO team. We're not super competitive, but we really do know how to have a good time with it, and that's really what I had envisioned for my club. And one day I started working for this startup. It's called All Mid. We did a lot of we were focusing on events in the Midwest, and I worked there for about a year. I wore a lot of different hats, as startups kind of go.
Yeah.
And from there, actually, I met Kurt Melcher, Ferris Gansman, Jose Espin, Jose Carrasco, all those guys from RMU. Marcus Wallam, and it was like a really cool experience because I had never really known anything outside of my small little bubble, my small little club. Well, I guess it's not really that small, but it was, to me, it was a new feeling of being able to do something with this thing I love to do, which was play games and hang out with my friends.
Okay, and that's how you got started on Robert Morris University. Was you met them all through Northwestern and the efforts that you put into
All Mid.
All mid. Gotcha. Okay.
Yep.
So, from All Mid, you met everybody from there, and then you got on to Robert Morris University. Is that correct? Did you actually work there? Or did you actually attend school there as well?
I did not attend school there. Whole time I've been in Northwestern. So what happened was, I was really looking. I really like the Army. You guys are a wonderful group of people.
Yeah, they're all really nice.
Yeah, I mean, Aspen. The other day he just sent me a jersey for this year's season, even though I'm not working with him this year. Because what happened was that I saw that how they performed at PAX like a few years back, and I thought to myself, man, they're such a good team, and I really wish there was something I could do to help them. And it felt like if they had like a more stable communication system, or like teamwork, like some better teamwork or whatever, they could have made it happen. but I wasn't exactly 100% certain that I would be super helpful to them when I first joined.
Mm-hmm.
And I definitely had a lot of there were a lot of question marks for me. Like, is the impact that I'm trying to make, is it really going to be effective? Right? You read all these things in these psychology books. You learn the how to, but putting it actually into practice is a lot harder than it would seem. You don't just like read lines from a script or anything. So it was a little bit difficult for me to start and get to know the guys. But I think once we got going, we were able to. I was able to make. It wasn't massive changes that I was able to implement for them, but I feel like the small changes that I did help them with, it did help in some way to like win Midwest Campus Clash last year, and to help a little bit with the performance of the team overall.
And I know a couple of people there have already kind of went separate ways. Of course, the team of our Robert Morris University, it's a lot different than it was whenever you were on there. Ferris, I believe, has his own consulting agency, if I recall. Kurt Melcher, of course, is still there. He's helping. I believe he's still there. I know he was traveling to conferences, even with actually Sherman from Riot. He was doing.
Well, actually, he's no. I don't think he's still with RMU. I think
Okay.
he's working elsewhere. If I remember correctly, yes.
No, yeah, it's so either way, there is a lot of differences in RMU last year than there is this year, which just shows how fast this environment can change, especially with a lot of different schools becoming more relevant in the collegiate scene. Even Northwestern, they're in the Big Ten, so that's actually really huge. We're going to get to that in a few moments, of course. But how do you feel? And I've gotten the opinion of Robert Morris University from a few different members, Evan RL being one of them, Drake Porter actually being one of them. What is your experience as far as the facility, the school recognizing recognizing the collegiate team and giving the resources that you needed?
Well, I mean, I think I think as far as the staff goes, they all did the best they could
Mm-hmm.
with what we were given. I think it was a little bit difficult at times to get everything that we needed, but it's kind of like that's kind of how most administrations are. It's kind of hard to get requests through sometimes, but I think overall, as far as the things we needed, we were able to kind of manage things within the space. I mean, Espen did a fantastic job. Jose Espen did
Yeah.
a fantastic job last year of kind of keeping everything together and kind of managing everything that goes on within the arena and everything. And I mean, I think without Espen, we would just be all over the place. He's done a really great job of like helping us stay, or he helped us stay like pretty organized. And I mean, he kind of like was our go between for what was going on with the school and the program. Ferris as well. I mean, he also helped out a lot, at least for me specifically, with kind of getting into the whole thing and being a part of and being able to help with the team and all that stuff.
And okay, so Midwest Campus Clash is actually coming up, and I want to talk about your RMU success there because that was probably one of their highlights. I mean, they did make it
Yeah.
to they made it to the Riot Finals a couple times, losing to University of British Columbia, and
Hmm.
which I mean, it's, you make it to the finals, of course, but obviously you want to lose. You don't want to be remembered for second, but something that you do want to be remembered for is winning a championship. And last year, you guys actually won Midwest Campus Clash. Was there a difference on as far as the environment, how this anything that you received from the school pre and post Midwest Campus Clash? Now that maybe you got some recognition saying you guys are championship material, or at least
Yeah, I mean,
were with that team. I mean,
I really think that what it came down to is that all the players they really stepped up in their own way. I mean, of course, Drake. He's constantly working with them. He's constantly working the whole way to the event. He was working out all this stuff. He was just sitting back talking strategy. And honestly, Drake he's very prepared. I mean, he does a lot of work to get ready for these things, and it really showed on stage, right? We won for a reason, right? Everyone worked hard in their own positions, and they all practiced up. They all worked out the strategies, the formulas. They all did their research. I think that like it was definitely a little bit of like we didn't really have like a team of people, but the people that did put like everyone on the team itself like put in the work. there weren't too many like extra outs. There wasn't a lot of extra outside help as far as like the tournament went for how we did. Outside of our group, Espen, the players themselves, Drake, our analyst, who's actually another student at the time, Mickey, he did a great job as well. And really, like it was really about the team coming together. Me personally, I don't feel like I contributed a ton to their success as a team. I think that here and there I say to try to drop a few words of wisdom. But I mean, it was really up to the players to kind of like take it to heart and really think about it more. And I think that as a group, they really worked out some of the problems that some of the smaller issues that they were having, and I mean, it showed in the results, right?
Yeah, very much so. So, what was the last days of Robert Morris? Your time on Robert Morris? Because after Midwest Campus Clash, I mean, the season was almost done. I mean, that's about how it is this year as well. I mean, you guys didn't make it to post playoffs. I believe you made it to post playoffs. But how was your few days going in Robert Morris University? What made you want to stop doing the Robert Morris stuff and then just focus strictly on Northwestern?
Well, to be totally honest with you, I didn't really feel like I was helping a ton. So after Midwest Campus Clash, I actually live about an hour or so away from Rob Morris by train. So it is a little bit difficult for me to commute to and from, especially with school being my primary focus. And Northwestern isn't such an easy school, so it was very difficult for me to just go there. And I tried to go as often as I could. But of course, commuting is never that easy. And I kind of felt like the team would benefit more from someone who is much more stable, much more available to them. Whether it be like physically available to them, or just be more helpful in general. I didn't feel like I was that helpful or instrumental in too many of the victories. So really, it just came down to, Ferris told me one day that they had found someone who was able to kind of work more in depth with the team, and I actually thought it was perfect, perfect for them, just because. I mean, that is the best way to be able to work with a team, right? Is to be able to work with them consistently and help them develop more over a longer period of time and through more dedicated time. And unfortunately, I just didn't have that much available time, and I just wanted to contribute what I could when I could.
Okay, so you're pointing out all these things. So you have a knowledge of what is good for a team and what isn't good for a team. And even if you recognize that you might not be the best fit for a team, you still like make moves to make it better. Even so, obviously being in one place, having to travel if you need to, like an hour. I believe Northwestern's in Evanston, Illinois. Am I correct?
Yes.
Yeah. So I mean, it was a little bit. Yeah, it was a little bit of a travel. Have you what have you done? What have you taken from like your experience at Robert Morris, knowing? Again, you're talking about how you know about about what team needs and things like that. Have you been applying that to Northwestern because you're closer there now? Is that just easier for you to make more of an impact at Northwestern than it was at Robert Morris?
So with my team at Northwestern, I actually have a little bit of I follow a different train of thought with the way that I kind of run my organization there. While I was working with Morris University, obviously I did not help out the team. All I did was I just set them up with the people that they needed to be set up with in order for the whole thing to be run as efficiently as possible. So I talked to some of the other officers at the club. They said, "Hey guys, I want you guys to do like these kinds of things, like tryouts, so that everyone can have a chance to participate as part of the team. These kinds of basic things that we hadn't done before, mostly because we weren't super organized, and also because our club was was originally mostly for casual gaming, and then people really just started to want, like, from the get-go, people wanted to compete, but not everyone got the chance to. So I kind of went away from our old system of the 5 best players, like the 5 highest ranked players got on the team, which was the strategy of my predecessors, to an actual tryout to find out, which players work best together, like how can we, which players have like some natural synergy built in, these kind of things. We tried to make our tryout process a little bit more like this. And like I think that really just comes from being able to work with a serious varsity program, a program that actually takes this program seriously and actually wants to put in the effort to try to put together the best team that they can in order to compete, right? So,
Yeah.
I mean, I didn't actually influence anything team competitively for Northwestern while I was with RMU, just because I didn't want there to be a conflict of interest. And my team at Northwestern, they usually don't ask me for help with those kinds of things. So I just gave them some advice. I believe they, as according to what I remember, they did take it. They even managed to fix themselves up with actually a student coach. And I mean, they're still working through a lot of stuff just because it is so new for us to be participating in something a little bit more serious than just putting 5 guys together to play in a tournament,
Right.
right? Because that's how it used to be with like Ivy Law, all that stuff. It used to be just like any college to sign up and just play for fun, and that's what it was all about. But now it's about the competition. The competition gets more serious. We should, and in response, we tried to turn up some of our seriousness, but of course, just because we don't have the best players and best players in collegiate or anything, doesn't mean that we can't still compete and just have a good time. But at the same time, we want to be able to make sure that we're respecting the rest of our competitors, right? That we want to show them that we'll put in the effort to compete, to put together a team the same way that these other teams do, right? We want to at least try to earn our way to that table, right? To that playoff spot eventually, and that's really what we're going for at Northwestern.
At Northwestern, so for anyone, I know I mentioned it earlier. For anyone who's watching who doesn't know much about Northwestern, they're actually in the Big Ten Conference. The Big Ten League. I believe it's the West Conference. Northwestern. I'm sure it's the Western Conference. Didn't make it to post playoffs, but looking into the future, the team of Northwestern is that a young team? Is that a team that can transfer over to next year and take everything that they learned this year and apply it, or are you going to be looking to start fresh again next year as well?
So what I'm really focusing on for next year, I'm actually no longer focusing on being in charge of the competitive, anything like that. All of that, if I can give a shout out credit to the guy that's been my right hand for the 2 years before this one. His name is Nicholas Al Young, and he's a guy that when I first became president, I actually had a choice between him and another guy to be the vice president, and just because I wanted to be a little bit different, I picked Nicholas, who's a little bit of he at the time he was like the opposite of me. He's much more of a quiet person. He's definitely much more reserved, and I just thought he would be a good fit because he always took the club seriously. He was always 100% attendance, and he really did put together the team, and he really did put together. Well, first it was a great team, and he was a part of it, and he helped build that team over time, and eventually he stepped away from being on the team to just being the coordinator. And I think that that's kind of like what I think he really did the job that I asked him to do, right? To kind of help put this together and put like some legs on this program that we're this well not program but like this structure that we're trying to build within our organization. So I just wanted to give him a quick shout out for all that work. But for my focus for next year, I'm going to be graduating in December from Northwestern, so my focus is going to be actually training two people who are going to replace me once I graduate as the president of the esports, as the co-president of the esports club.
Okay, so you're not, yeah. So I mean, that pretty much answers that question. You're not planning on sticking around at Northwestern and growing the esports community, becoming any sort of figure within after graduation.
No, I think that I think we're a little bit of a ways off from actually developing like a varsity program. I think we're at this point where a lot of our students are kind of or actually really preoccupied with all their classes and all their other activities on campus.
Yeah.
One of the for instance, one of my closest friends from last year, he was in 4 different like medical clubs, and that consumed his entire life, and he only had a few hours on the weekends to hang out.
Yeah.
So I mean, as you can imagine, like we're all very busy. I think in one of my years at Northwestern, I was actually the president, or not president, in the executive group of 4 different clubs simultaneously. So, as you can tell, we're a very busy bunch of people, and it's like it's very difficult for us to have a sole focus in esports, especially when a lot of us are going to Northwestern for a lot of different things. So I don't see us having a big competitive varsity program anytime soon, but I do think eventually it'll work itself up to that. I'm seeing that a lot more students on campus are more and more developing an interest in games and in our club and our organization and kind of like our general, well, they call it our general vibes. So
Yeah.
um, I'm just really glad to see that like we're just building over time. That's really my goal, is to like let it build naturally, and when it gets to the point that people are calling for a serious competitive team, then we'll turn up the heat on that one.
That's awesome. Yeah, and I was actually wondering how the influx of actual like interest in league differed from before and after the Big Ten, because I mean the Big Ten is actually it's a pretty big deal for the colleges that don't get scholarship programs, and I'm assuming Northwestern. I mean, you said they don't even have a varsity program, so I'm assuming they don't have a scholarship program either. Is that anything that you have tried to propose to Northwestern as far as getting them to recognize esports, collegiate esports a little bit more, even outside of League of Legends, specifically League of Legends for this one, but even outside of that one, have you tried to propose put together any sort of presentation for any of the staff at the school to try to make them take it a little more serious?
Sure. I mean, I have spoken to, so I've had a lot of different experiences with the athletic department.
Mm-hmm.
I think my first one was a little bit difficult to kind of get through, just mostly because I've walked into plenty of meetings before. My background is in financial services, so you can kind of walk into a meeting that you're not gonna it's not gonna go well from the get go, and you can say to yourself, this is that meeting. And boy, let me tell you, that was one of those meetings. We walked in, and I could already tell this guy wasn't taking us very seriously, and he was kind of like, "Oh, esports club. Are you guys like a debate team?" And I mean, I'm just like looking at this guy like, "What? Like, how did you get debate team from esports club?" And he's like, "There's nothing that you train, right?" And I'm like, "Okay, well."
Oh.
Like it's kind of became one of those conversations where that no matter how hard you try to convince someone, it's just you're not gonna really win, because they're always gonna have some kind of devil's advocate comment to make.
Yeah.
It was a little bit tricky to kind of get through that first conversation, but since then, actually, we were when the whole Big Ten league was happening, I actually got an email from our athletic department, because they know we have like an internal system where you can find out who the leaders of each club are, each organization on campus, who they are, what their emails are, their phone numbers, etc. Just because we're all saved through the school system.
Yeah.
And they reached out to me, they emailed me, they said they wanted to meet, and it was the first time. It had been a while since that first meeting, but I was a little bit cautious, a little bit wary. You don't really know what to say to the people that kind of just called your whole organization a glorified debate team, pretty much, right? But the guys that I talked to, they were incredibly professional. It's like the VP for External Affairs and VP for Communication, both wonderful guys. Like, I spoke to them, they said that they were excited about it, that they wanted to do something big, they wanted to kind of like build something out slowly with us, and they wanted to do an event with us. Is kind of like a show of faith, is like a show of faith / test run, is like like how close are you guys, or like how developed are you guys as an organization, and also kind of like how can we help you, kind of attitude, which was really nice. It was really good to. It was really refreshing to like be able to talk to people who are more open minded about it. They helped us. They funded our t-shirts. They funded us. They funded an event for us, pretty much. They fully funded an event for us, including paid lunch and dinner in the basketball arena. I don't know if you've ever heard of the Wall Street Basketball Arena. No. That's our indoor basketball arena. Huge stadium, a huge place, like right next to the football field.
Gotcha.
and they said, we're going to do some renovations to it soon. Before we do these renovations, this would be a perfect time for you guys to run an event in there. They said it had to be kind of like internal only, so it would only be open to students and affiliated parties. And also they wanted it to be something that they could that was just like all inclusive Northwestern. It was like just an all Northwestern kind of thing. So they gave us a budget. I kind of like mapped out or detailed out kind of like all the line items. Like, these are the things that we need. These are the things that we would want to have at the on event day. From my experience with All Mid, I was able to kind of put the event together. I actually reached out to some of my old friends who I worked with at All Mid, and they actually drove all the way out from Ohio just to come help me out. And they did it all for free. Wonderful guys. They actually I think now they're at Yugen, which is another event company, and I mean they're really nice guys, and they're really nice to come help me set everything up. We actually sat there all night before the event, kind of putting it all together, laying out the tables, and I actually reached out to my good friend Mike Stanowski, who is he's a CS:GO head coach for RMU, and he was able to get me set up with a couple of sponsors for the event. So SteelSeries sponsored our event. They made us, custom mouse pads, everything like that. It was really nice. And they gave us a bunch of product. And Mike also hooked me up with another company called eSports Squared, and they actually gave us sponsorship to fund the prizing for our Smash tournament. So the event itself ended up being a full-day event at the Wallshrine Arena on a snowy day. Students actually brought their huge rigs, like their full desktops, these like large machines, and their monitors and everything.
Yeah.
And we had them all set up, and it was a really fun day for all of us. We did everything from just casual ARAMs to a small tournament internally. Winners got like SteelSeries product. It was really fantastic, and everyone had a great time. And even the athletics people, they sent one of the two guys that I had spoken to originally. His name is Paul Kennedy. He actually came out to the event, and he sat down with us for the whole day. And he said he had a great time. He said he loved it.
That's awesome.
And we're looking forward to working with them in the future. Just like keeping that relationship going, and that's really what it's all about. At least for me, starting out is like being able to have this open line of communication with athletics and kind of building that relationship is really what's important right now.
That is awesome, and that sounds like really good progress for people who aren't convinced, to be able to give them a different side of esports, to show them that this can be a community thing and help drive people to the college, because that is what colleges really want. It's just enlarge their enrollment, and if you can show that, hey, this is an interest that from people, a community, that could actually be really good. So that's actually really cool. That's a lot of progress, it sounds like. When I messaged you, and I again, thank you for being on this short notice. I don't know if for anyone who doesn't know, I actually messaged him yesterday about this to be on today. But I knew that we could talk for 30 minutes because I knew you had a lot of experience. And
thank you.
Yeah, no, thank you very much. And it showed. So 30 minutes is almost up. Do you want to close out, give any shout outs to anybody, plug your social medias, of course?
Yes, actually, I want to shout out. So check out twitter.com/hipsterbeta. That's me.
Mm-hmm.
I'm actually going to be posting about an event that actually is about a cause that's really important to me. This is about actually bringing awareness to the issue of sexism in gaming. It's going to be a live event on Facebook, Twitch, YouTube, everywhere that you can think of that we're going to be. I mean, you'll see it. I'll be posting about it all week, so please check out my Twitter, and I'll be sharing links about it.
Awesome.
Thanks again.
No, thank you so much. And of course, you can follow me at Fequez, of course, PHEQES. Again, follow him at hipsterbeta. That's HIPSTERBETA. He's a really cool guy. Thank you so much, Yoonie. And you can also check out our C Star League Twitters at twitter.com/C Star League and twitter.com/CSLLOL. I'm not quite sure the game's coming up this weekend because, again, games are just narrowing down. A lot of people are really picky on time, so stay tuned on those. And once again, thank you for coming on. You're going to PAX, so have a safe flight. Enjoy PAX East, and I'll catch you around, man.
Catch you around.